We Shouldn't Talk About This may contain graphic descriptions and/or explicit content that may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Hi, I'm Key,
And I'm V.
and this is episode 2 of We Shouldn't Talk About This. 2 episodes, we are rolling.
Yeah, we're finally in here. We're making our way to the podcast, outer worlds, pretty much.
We're almost at 10. That's like double digits.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
2 episodes, jeez. So, V, Key, what are you talking about today?
Today, what we shouldn't talk about is how apparently easy it is to scam the EPA for money.
Is that a fact?
It is a fact. Based on these stories we have today, while it is easy, it's also gonna get you put in jail.
For quite a long time.
So let's jump into it. These are, I guess we would classify them as biodiesel crimes.
Yeah, that sounds alright.
Okay, so I'll start first. So mine starts off with Maryland man convicted in biodiesel scam. And I have a story to tell you. Let me paint you a picture with words.
Let me say crisscross applesauce real quick.
All right. So a Maryland man was convicted Monday, June 12th, of selling phony biodiesel credits in a fraud case that raised concerns about an oversight of renewable fuels program run by the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA. The federal government established a renewable fuel program in 2005 that required oil refiners and importers to make renewable fuel or to purchase credits from manufacturers. The initiative intended to reduce the nation's dependency on foreign oil has come under congressional scrutiny after a few companies were accused of selling phony biodiesel credits. Now, companies that import or make gasoline or diesel are required to use a certain amount of renewable fuel. Well, to meet their mandate, because, fuel isn't really renewable. That's not what we know fuel for. It's called fossil fuels for a reason.
Yeah, we just burn it.
They're made from fossils. We don't have too many left.
Yeah.
So, to meet their mandate, companies can buy credits called Renewable Identification Numbers, or RINs, that represent renewable fuel that another company has produced. So, instead of them being proactive or active and producing their own renewable fuel, they basically have another company do it, and they just buy the credits from that company. So, yeah, if I'm out here importing gasoline, diesel, but I'm like, I don't have the time to use renewables resources. V, how about you make the renewable resources and I'll just pay you, and it's like teamwork makes the dream work type of situation.
Alright, I see that, yeah, okay.
So, now that you got a little background, here's my story. Rodney Haley, who was 33 at the time, he was convicted in 2012, so this was back then. Rodney Haley's company, Clean Green Fuel, in the suburbs of Baltimore, which should have been one red flag, a company that purportedly created renewable fuel from waste cooking oil, sold more than 23 million gallons of biodiesel he never made.
23 million?
23 million gallons.
Wow. Solo act, supposedly. Just one guy.
Now, nobody really knows that it's just him. They think he has a whole company going. So, Clean Green Fuel sold more than 35 million credits, or RINs, representing the more than 23 million gallons of fuel. But oddly enough, Haley's plant manager, his chief operating officer, and the EPA never saw his production plant.
Wow.
So where was his plant manager and COO going every day? Like, nobody questions these things, I guess. Now, the EPA not seeing it, I can understand that. It's not like, they just have people riding around checking stuff out.
Yeah. That takes time and resources, and you have to get a special audit for that. You got to have like some kind of protocol they go through for that.
Right. So, we're going on the honor system with the EPA, so they didn't really have any reason to check. However, 2 civilian inspectors from the EPA's Air Enforcement Division visited Clean Green's headquarters on July 22nd, 2010 to inspect Haley's biodiesel production facility in response to a complaint more, alleging that Clean Green had been selling false RINs. Now, Haley was not able to provide an exact location for the biodiesel fuel production facility, red flag 2, nor any records to support claims that Clean Green Fuel had produced biodiesel fuel at all. When asked to explain his method of production, now listen to this, because this is where the flim-flam really starts up. He falsely stated that he paid employees and contractors to recover vegetable waste oil from 2,700 restaurants in the Delmarva area and bring it to his production facility, where he doesn't know the exact location, where he converted it, even though he doesn't know where the facility is, into biodiesel fuel. Haley claimed that only the drivers who picked up the oil knew the names of the restaurants, and Haley could not provide the names of any drivers.
Wow. Haley.
So, basically, he's producing diesel fuel from vegetable oil from 2,700 mystery restaurants in a mystery plant that's being provided or picked up by mystery drivers.
What happened to him is he didn't expect this to blow up. He didn't expect him
He
to.
really didn't.
And he was not prepared to.
At all.
Man.
So, now this is where my mind is blown, because a lot happened in such a little bit of time. Haley made more than $9 million doing this between March 2009 and December 2010, selling his fake biofuel credits to oil companies, brokers, and producers.
What in the world? $9 million.
Just think, if he could have made it longer than that, year and 8 months?
Mm-hmm. That's insane.
That is. If he could have kept that going for 5 years, making that type of money.
And mind you, audience, this is no mastermind. This is just
one
guy
who was like, hey, I see a flaw in the system. I'm going to
exploit
the hell out of it.
Wow.
So, Haley used the proceeds of this scheme to purchase more than a dozen luxury vehicles, which I feel would be your downfall if you ever had a scheme to make millions really quickly.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I already have my car list ready for if I stumble upon a couple $1 million. I know I'm getting a Testarossa 1995 and Aston Martin V12 Vantage. I know these things. That'd be my downfall for sure.
Okay, so we'll talk about how if you get caught, they won't find your cars. We'll talk about that, because obviously no one talked to Haley about this. So he had Bentleys, BMWs, Ferraris, a Mercedes-Benz, a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a Lamborghini, and a Maserati, among other cars. He also used the money to charter private jets, as well as buy real estate, and the most African Americanist thing he could have done, he bought more than $80,000 in diamond jewelry.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
Haley, come on.
Right, just he wasn't thinking. The nouveau riche, they just don't think sometimes. In all these transactions, he generally used cash or checks drawn onto accounts that he controlled to make purchases, including a check for $645,330.15 to buy his home. Here's a public service announcement. If you're stealing money from the government, don't write checks. PSA over. So, he spent lavishly as he quickly amassed millions, and this conspicuous consumption caught up to Haley, according to the prosecutors. The luxury cars are what really played a role in his downfall, because the federal investigation started after neighbors in his house that he paid for with a check with his name on it complained to a Baltimore County detective that some of the cars were blocking a bus stop in his Perry Hall community. And the bus driver was too scared to drive close to the car, so the parents had to walk their kids up to the top of the street instead of where they normally get picked up and dropped off. So they called the detective and was like, look, something's going on. There's too many nice cars outside. They're causing a ruckus. The bus driver won't come here no more. Come look at this.
Yeah, one thing you don't want to do in your, illegal errands is to piss off parents, because they will go to people they need to go to get something figured out.
Right, and draw so much unnecessary attention to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, buy 12 cars. However, also buy a garage paid in cash under some person's name that is not immediately connected to you to park all these cars in.
Yeah.
FBI government that listens on my phone to my agent, don't listen to none of that. So, here's what Assistant U.S. Attorney Stephen D. Casella had to say. He generated absolutely nothing. He was doing absolutely nothing except spending money, which is completely true. And that was part of his closing arguments in the federal courthouse in Baltimore. He also said he undermined the integrity of a program intended to help the environment, create jobs, and reduce dependency on foreign oil. Which he really did, because he spent all those months selling credits for oil and biodiesel that didn't exist. And people don't realize, oil is one of those things we can't just whip up in a lab, I don't think. It's mined from the ground for a reason, which means there's a finite amount of it. So we really need these renewable resources. So think about that before you try to bamboozle the EPA with fake biodiesel credits. I'm off my soapbox now. So Haley's case and allegations against another company in Texas have prompted questions from some in Congress about opportunities for fraud in the program designed to increase production of renewable fuels in the U.S. EPA officials have said that they have expanded enforcement efforts, and the program already includes more oversight than when Haley entered the market. Mr. Haley's greed has caused immeasurable damage to an industry and a government policy that are working for the public good. Ben Evans, a spokesperson for the National Biodiesel Board, said after the verdict, The organization, he said, is working on safeguards that will prevent this kind of thing from happening in the future. Now, jurors returned their verdict in how long do you think it took them?
To turn their verdicts in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, like instantly?
Kind of. Pretty much. Like, it didn't seem like they did a lot of back and forth. They turned their verdict in an hour and 15 minutes, finding Haley guilty on 8 counts of wire fraud, 32 counts of money laundering, and only, oddly enough, 2 counts of violating the Clean Air Act. Which you would think there would be more Clean Air Act violations because he was selling these credits over these months, but I guess the government had to do what it had to do to get their conviction. And wire fraud seems like more of an easier, like, catch-all that they use. But anyway, he was sentenced February 2013 to 12 and a half years, followed by 3 years of supervised release. The judge also ordered that Haley pay a restitution. How much do you think this restitution is?
So if he got $9 million, I want to say the restitution is probably $4 million.
You're a lot nicer than this judge.
Ooh.
He has to pay restitution of $42,196,089.78 to over 20 companies.
Wow. That is insane.
So I guess when he gets out of jail, he's going to start up another fake biodiesel company.
Just to pay that off.
Just to pay this restitution.
Damn,
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Now, his defense attorneys accused the EPA of lax oversight and loose regulations of the RIN trading program, which began in 2005 and expanded in 2007. Haley, they said, was a scapegoat for the agency's concern about politics and public relations. Which, if you know the full story as to how he found the loophole and what the actual loophole was, well, the loophole was basically like you could just sign up as a company on the EPA's website and they really didn't check to see what you were doing. So when the brokers and companies were looking for what they thought were legitimate companies, they would access the EPA's list and boom, Clean Green Fuel was on there. So they made the logical assumption, okay, if it's on the EPA's list, it must be a valid company. We can do business.
So from the EPA's point of view, I can see why they make it so easy. Because like imagine if like Buc-ee's wanted to put like 20 new gas stations on there or whatever, and they had 100 pumps, I guess more than 100 pumps between these 20 gas stations. They have 40 pumps at Buc-ee's, so 800
gas station.
They have 900 pumps basically. So I guess it makes it easier for big places to do that. But yeah, there should be some better monitoring on that. But I can see both ends of it really. That's crazy.
So his attorney said the EPA screwed up big time. Said Attorney Joseph Evans, the EPA has to blame Mr. Haley because they have to answer to Congress about this. However, Assistant U.S. Attorney Tanya N. Kelly said it's not the EPA's fault that Haley committed this crime. Neck roll. Hand snap. Tell him. However, in closing arguments, Haley's attorneys acknowledged the scheme. They put it in quotations as if it wasn't a scheme. But Evans said that the brokers and traders who bought from Clean Green had to have known that the volumes Haley said he was producing were unrealistic. They turned a blind eye because they were making money, said Evans, a federal public defender. Evans said his client is likely to appeal. We respect the jury's findings and will move on. Now that was back in 2013. Rodney Haley is currently still in jail and scheduled to be released on March 14th, 2023.
2023.
Which I'm guessing they're factoring in from the time he got caught as part of that 12 and a half years, because if he was sentenced in 2013, that's only 10 years.
Yeah.
But that's my story, and it's like I kind of don't hate this guy because the government does so much bad stuff to everybody. However, you just got to be smarter than this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, now in the case that I'm bringing to the table, I want to say my what is it? Like,
Convicts.
yeah, my convicts were a little smarter, but not like not enough to get away with it, because like their time frame lasted less than Haley's did.
Wow.
Yeah. So when it comes to my guys, let me go ahead and give you a little bit on them as two Florida men, Thomas DeVanzo and Robert Fedna, who are lifelong friends and business partners. Not much is told about what their business pertained to before this, but in 2013, March of 2013, they went ahead and established some Shell gas stations and started franchising from those. And like people franchise big businesses like all the time.
Right.
But these gentlemen, oh my goodness, what they did, something else. So initially, of course, they got Shell and then they started franchising. But then they decided to go ahead and start falsifying documents. And they had co-conspirators at Gen X Energy and at the Southern Resources and Commodities place. So that's the Gen X and SRC. And they used a series of false transactions to transform the fuel back into fed stock needed for the production of renewable fuel, and then sold it back to Gen X or SRC, allowing credits to be claimed again. And this cycle was just ongoing.
So they were basically like double dipping the fuel?
Yeah, they're double dipping. And like you're saying, like these are fossil fuels, you can't even like get it back, but they were just going on and on like 4 times just in there.
Wow.
And they opened chains of Shell gas stations just like doing this.
First of all, I feel like they had to have had a decent bit of money because it's not cheap to franchise a gas station.
Right, yeah, no, I wouldn't expect so either because I definitely wouldn't expect that either because gas stations are going to make money because people need gas.
Right.
And so you're never going to go sour in business on that. Versus like, if you franchise McDonald's, like people in your town could all of a sudden get sick of McDonald's. Doubt it'll happen, but it could happen. Or they'll only just want the sweet tea.
Yeah, or like now the movement is going toward being vegan or plant-based, and if you don't keep up on your menu, you'll lose business.
Yeah, you're gonna have like that one regular and that's it. That one regular getting a $5 meal is not gonna keep the business up.
Nope. Shout out Burger King and their Impossible Burger.
Not sponsored. But so basically, well, like I was saying, they operate entities that purported to purchase renewable fuel on which the credits had been claimed and which was ineligible for additional credits, and then that was given to Gen X and SRC, and then just went back. It's like, and then sold it back from them and to get credits again. And then also they laundered proceeds of the scheme through all the gas stations. So every gas station they had went through the scheme, and they had bank accounts and names of Shell entities to keep it, like legit, pretty much. Like, our Shell station 502 or whatever. And then these funds were cycled through Shell companies' bank accounts to perpetrate the fraud scheme and conceal its proceeds.
Well, at least they tried to hide it, but don't put every single gas station in it. Have 2 legit gas stations.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. And even more, Devanzo and Fedna also directed and participated in the generation of false paperwork designed to create the facade that the Renewable Identification Number, the RIN, was created and claimed by the co-conspirators were legitimate. So the paperwork included false invoices from Gen X or SRC to the shell entities, and then that showed the sales of the renewable fuels. And then another false invoice was created from shell entities to Gen X and SRC, which wanted to show the purchase of feedstock and false bills of lading, which was perpetrated to show the transportation of fuel and feedstock by tanker truck. So these guys didn't have legit truck drivers either.
Bills of lading.
And this went on from March 2013 to March 2014. So it was not a long span for them, just 12 months. But do you want to guess how much money they made from this?
Okay, so if my one-man show made $9 million in, let's say, 20 months, a two-man operation, well, really four, because it was the two guys plus Gen X plus SRC.
Yeah.
In 1 year, I will give them 9 times 4 is 36. I'll give them 36 million.
36 million, that is a close answer. A little shy of 42 million.
Wow.
42 million. And you want to know what they spent their money on? I'm sure you have a good guess. They spent
Cars.
They spent it on gold coins.
Oh, well, wait a minute now. Easy to hide. They rarely dip below a certain amount of value, I believe.
Right.
I mean, you can bury them.
Yeah, that's a decent investment.
Dig them up. I'm going to have to give them the stamp of approval on the gold coins.
Matching Rolex watches, because
Sirs.
they're in this the bad boys for life. They gotta have their marking.
Did they get matching tramp stamps too?
That was not listed, but hey, who knows? You can get a lot of tattoos with that kind of money. Thoroughbred horses.
Another solid investment. I'm not mad at these guys.
And then when you evolve from horses, you get vehicles.
Yes, of course.
And various properties.
Too many things that have to be in your name. But again, with the thoroughbreds and the gold coins, I can definitely, if I was in on that scheme, those would have been the two things I would have invested my money in.
Yeah, because this was a multi-state scheme, so it wasn't just in Florida. It was going like different states throughout the country. I wasn't able to get specific names for the states, but SRC, for example, is in Georgia, and then Gen X is in Washington State. So
that was all over the country.
Yeah. So at least coast to coast in a way. And so ultimately, what happened? Of course, the case got investigated by the U.S. Secret Service, the EPA themselves, the IRS.
Ooh.
And after that, it was prosecuted by the Assistant United States Attorney Sarah Sweeney and Megan Kistler, and then trial attorney Adam Coleman of the Environment and Natural Resources Division of the Department of Justice. So these big crimes call for big people.
They do, but I mean, they were like selling the same credits round and round in a circle. Like, I know they had to be like, okay, somebody's gonna realize we're not generating this much, or we're selling way more than other gas stations. Like,
yeah.
You gotta be more. What am I trying to say? Incognito with it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They're so conspicuous. Like, do it in 2 gas stations. So like, oh, well, these and these very high populated places are making good money.
Yeah, that'd been good way to hide
the
it.
rest of them are they're chugging along. And then build up the scheme.
Yeah, for sure. Versus having every single one be like,
full tilt.
Yeah, crazy. And like what also is crazy is that Gen X, from all of like the double dipping they did, Gen X received 4.3 million in false tax credits for the fuel. And this was quantified by the biodiesel producers or blenders that are eligible for an income tax credit of $1 per gallon. So $1 per gallon, 4.3 million gallons.
Wow,
that is insane. And it's of course like pure biodiesel, and all these right here have to meet the American Society for Testing and Materials specifications, and somehow they forged their documentation to have it. Like, I don't understand how they didn't send people out to test this stuff. Like, how do you not send out your own like verified testers to make sure that this fuel is that B100 perfect that we need to get you in this tax credit?
I have a theory. Apparently, the EPA was started by Boy Scouts who are very into the honor system. And they just want to believe everybody's going to do right, so they don't have to micromanage all these companies, but maybe they should look into micromanaging all these companies.
For sure. But hey, that's not such a bad though. That's the Environmental Protection Agency, so...
We only have one environment, people.
Well, you have one environment, people.
V just laughed like he knows where there's another environment that we can go to and I don't know about it.
Yeah, you gotta start terraforming these planets. Mess them up too.
That was a real ominous chuckle.
Yeah, right, yeah.
She thinks we only have one environment.
That's off the record, by the way, everyone. Don't listen to that. So, so the gentleman got caught. So we'll get into the trial now. This is where stuff gets crazy. Crazy, but only like, courtroom crazy, pretty much. So they had federal court judge Sherry Polster Chappell. She was presiding for this case. And I can tell from the quotes that she gave that she was just so disgusted by this case. And and all this took place June 24th, 2016. So I don't really...
That was super recent.
Yeah, but I don't know what was going on between March 2013 and March 2014, which is when this whole scheme ended. And then we get the case in June 24 of 2016. That's 2 years later. So...
Yeah, it takes the court system a long time. They say the wheels of justice turn slowly.
Yeah, it turns slowly for sure. These wheels are super outdated. So, and so what happened is, first Thomas DeVanzo took the stand, and he was in the courtroom because they were like separately tried. They were separately tried for a joint case, just so there weren't any conspiring inside the courtroom or anything. And so DeVanzo was there, and also a criminal psychiatrist and his 2 daughters, and they were there to give testimonies to make it a lighter sentence for him. Michael Rappaport, the psychiatrist, said...
I thought you meant that actor.
Is there an actor with that name?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He's like an actor-comedian.
You think he was acting as a psychiatrist this day?
Anything's possible.
So Mr. Rappaport said that in his 40-plus years of practice, he's only seen people as genuinely remorseful as DeVanzo in DUI manslaughter trials. Wow. And so DeVanzo has a big heart. He cheats the system, but he has a very pure heart.
Purely fake biodiesel-filled heart.
He also noted that DeVanzo hoarded most of his money that he stolen. He hoarded it, even though he bought, horses and cars and property and coins and matching Rolexes for his best bud. He hoarded a lot of it.
Okay, so Mr. DeVanzo, if you ever come across this podcast, please write us an email to tell us, why did you hoard the money? If you're going to go through all the trouble, all the late nights, early mornings, calculations to make things look right, papers, so many trees cut down to make these books cooked correctly to get you all this money, why hoard it?
Actually, the psychiatrist gave us a quote with that.
Oh.
He believed in his naive head that made him less guilty.
Okay, I'm not going to say I also believe that, but I can see what his thought process is. Like, I'm not enjoying it, I'm not spending it, therefore I'm not as bad as everybody else.
Yeah.
Because they're getting pleasure from doing this and I'm not.
Yeah, I could see that. So I'm a family man. I'm not. I wanted to buy my little girl I want to buy my little girl a pony for her birthday. You know.
Right.
I'm a good guy.
Like, I'm just using this to slightly elevate my family, not to go out and just have millions of dollars to spend wildly.
Yeah. and that was all our report said from the psychiatrist. And then his eldest daughter, she took to the stand, and she was, of course, crying from what the report says. And she says, "I truly believe my father is inherently a good person."
And he might be.
He might be. He might be, but he does have a little evil in there, for sure. And then his youngest daughter testified and said, "See the man for who he is, not just what he's done."
Well, I mean, you're always gonna, like, let me backtrack. If you have a good relationship with your parents, you're always gonna see the best in them no matter what they do. So, I mean, I understand them being character witnesses, but no one really, I don't think that really sways anyone.
No.
Especially not judges. It may sway a couple people on the jury, but I don't really think it sways judges like that.
No. Judges they're like rock walls.
Right. Rock lobster.
So now for the sad part.
Yeah.
Robert Fedna, he sat in the hall with his head in his hands during Devonzo's sentencing. He had no family in the audience and no testimonies on his behalf.
Oh.
Other than his lawyer, he was alone. "Unfortunately, I fell into a trap. It's my own fault." His words to the judge.
At least he manned up and took responsibility.
Yeah.
But my thing is, where was his family and friends when he was spending all this money? If you were there to help him spend, you should have been there in the courtroom.
For real, yeah. Like, he was a millionaire. I'm sure he had everybody on his side then. But the second he goes down, everyone just jumps ship.
That's what's messed up.
That is messed up.
If you can make $42 million in a year, even split between two people.
Yeah, 20. That's like 21. You know.
There's no way they could have spent all that money. Somebody has money somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm going down for this. You take this money.
Right. Every week I would be stashing cash somewhere. I can't say where, because if I ever happen to find a biodiesel scheme that I can work out, I need to have some things close to the vest.
Yeah.
But stash your money, criminals. Stash your money. Not with your mom, not with your grandmother, not with your spouse, not with your children. These are all the people that they are going to go to first.
Yeah, immediately. They're the ones you go to.
Here's what you do. Oh, I'm going to let you finish your story before I say what you have to do.
Okay. Lastly, just like the judge's fury and the sentencing. So, Judge Chappelle said, "This was sophisticated and extensive. You weren't just doctoring the books here." She rejected both defenses' attempts for a substantially lower sentence. But Devonzo did receive a shorter sentence than Fedna. And to my understanding, they were both together in this crime. I didn't see anything about Fedna doing like something before, like if he was convicted of like Grand Theft Auto or anything like that before, possession of drugs or anything like that. But Thomas DiManzo got 10 years or 121 months, so 10 years in a month, and then Fedna got 135 months, so that was 11 years and 3 months, and they received 3 months probation. And guess how much restitution they had to pay?
Okay, seeing as how you shortchanged mine, I'm gonna say that they must not have had to pay too much restitution. So 42 million. I would say 10 million.
You're still too high.
What?
Yeah, they had to pay 4 million each, so 8 million, but 4 million each.
Wow.
In restitution. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
So basically, go dig up what you hid in the backyard.
Yeah.
And use this to pay your restitution.
That's insane. And so yeah, they went to prison 2016, and so they've only served 3 years of their sentencing at this point in time. Well, was probation before or after prison? I guess after. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Well, maybe DeVazzo's not spending the money. Maybe that did sway the judge a little bit. Like, okay, maybe he wasn't just in it for the money. Maybe he got suckered in, pulled in, strong-armed into doing this.
Yeah.
So maybe that is, something she took into consideration for giving him a slightly lesser sentence.
Yeah, he got 14 months. He got a 14-month shorter sentence. Man, that's a whole another year with his family and everything, and Fedna's still just gonna be in prison.
I mean, they both got less time than my guy did, and they made way more money than he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to pay back way more restitution.
It's crazy. What state was Harley in?
Maryland.
I mean, Maryland would seem more chill than Florida. Florida has a lot going on like all the time. Florida's
all
huge.
The time.
But I think you know a guy. You think you know a guy.
You think you know. So back to my tangent about how you hide your money.
Yes, please continue.
Wait, where's my phone? I have to turn it off so my personal FBI agent doesn't hear this.
Shout out to FBI agent Sanchez de Benza.
Let me cover my camera on my laptop, because then you can try to say it's me, but you can't prove it because you can't see me.
Yeah, I can try to find some tape for you real quick.
Cool. So, this is what you have to do. If you're thinking of starting a scheme, even before you even get it started, you have to find the most obscure third cousin twice removed to befriend. Cannot have the same last name. Y'all have to have basically zero ties, no social media ties. You both talk on specifically bought burner phones. That is going to be the person whose name goes on everything, but not even just that person's name. They have to find a cousin from the other side of the family that they don't really deal with. I mean, this has to be pyramid scheme type cousins.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be an incredible detective to be able to
piece this together.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get the 23andMe DNA sample.
Pretty much, because I'm gonna go find the most obscure cousin I've probably only met one time to reconnect with. Get them. Not even get them involved in the scheme, but just be like, hey, cuz, I love you. I'm gonna give you some money. I just need you to hold on to half of it. Whatever you do with the other half is on you. But bury half of it in your mom's yard. Not even your yard. Bury it in her yard. If your mom's not alive, bury it in the first foot of her grave. Just dig up that dirt. Bury it. You don't have to go all the way down 6 feet. We just need it safe for when I eventually get caught and need money to escape. Because I already have a passport. I'm out. I'll just, walk over the Canadian border, hop out to Newfoundland, get on the boat, and I'm gone.
Just like that.
Just like that. Obviously, I've thought about this a little bit.
Now, you don't say.
No.
What?
No. That was all off the top of my head.
That's incredible. That's a gift for that.
Maybe so. Criminals, if you need an escape plan, or if you don't have somebody in your life to tell you, hey, this is stupid, don't do this. Because I had a friend whose boyfriend was a bank robber. And the first thing he wanted to do was go buy flashy cars. Flashy cars is like the downfall of dang near every criminal. Everybody told him, don't buy flashy cars. You don't have a job. Anybody who sees you walking one day and in a 2002 Mercedes, and it's 2002, it's going to be real suspicious, like, what are you doing? Then they're going to say, hey, did you notice Bubba over there has a brand new car, but I'll never see him go to work though? Then that person's going to tell one person, then eventually, like, rumors are going to be swirling, and that's how you get caught.
Yeah, that's all it takes. That's all it takes is that talk, and it could really, really come out to the wrong set of ears, and someone could look into your whole everything and what you got going on.
Where did you get money from a car? Like, unemployment don't pay this much.
Yeah, because like there are two things. Like the one guy is gonna be like, yo, like I want in, like I need to make some money fast like that too.
Right.
And then next guy's gonna be like, I think something's going on here. I want to know what you're doing, and I want to know why you're doing it, and you need to stop.
Yeah, or the third person, I don't care what you're doing, pay me to keep quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd be like, I know your secret. But if you give me 20,000, I don't say nothing.
Every week.
Mm-hmm.
No checks, Mr. Haley.
yeah, no checks.
He's like, to Mr. Smith for extortion payment.
Basically.
Come on.
Jeez. Bought a house with a check.
Right, like just and he was married. Why? See, people, this is why you have to have a life partner that is smart, because his wife should have said these purchases are stupid. But no, she was out here wearing diamond jewelry and driving fancy cars and blocking driveways and living in her $600,000 house paid for by a check, when I know she knew he wasn't going. I mean, okay, maybe he was going somewhere during the day. I mean, you can go sit at the library during the day.
Yeah, you can.
But you didn't see not one direct deposit transaction, no check stubs, never met one coworker. Just didn't ask any questions.
And like, it'd be different if this was like a mob, if it was like a mob wife or something like that, like
yeah.
they know the game they're in. They know one day their husband's either gonna get caught or die. Right. But when you're like a normal schmo one day, and all of a sudden you start racking in the money.
Right. My first thing would be like, where did this money? Nope. Where's all the cash you got? Give me that, and then you go somewhere else, and I don't want no parts of this.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care how much I love you, I'm not gonna
I'm not going to jail for you.
Yeah.
Well, these were two interesting cases.
Yeah, very surprising cases these were. I didn't know. I knew things of this nature existed, but I didn't know how quickly the criminals could build,
like a massive fortune of money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
Very. That's it for episode 2. Check out our Instagram. We shouldn't talk about this pod. There will be pictures and sources. And if you have any case suggestions, it has to be 2 case suggestions that kind of mirror each other, to we shouldn't talk about this at gmail.com.
Our American email.
Very American. And just be on the lookout for more episodes, bigger and better things, maybe merch, maybe not.
I am V.
Now I'm Key.
And thanks for listening to what we had to say today.
Well, maybe we'll be back next week.
Just maybe.
But we probably really shouldn't talk about that.